Welcome to another guitar show, Christmas special, coming up on this episode. Christmas songs, Christmas songs, Christmas songs. Name that tune in one. Probably not.
If you get
is
it,
the answer,
absolutely
yes.
amazing.
I've never been happier in all my life. We all wish you a very Merry Christmas. Beautiful. Welcome to the Christmas special of another guitar show. If that little jam doesn't get you into the Christmas spirit, I don't know what will. We're wearing the Christmas jumpers. We've massively decorated by putting some lights up. And it is, of course, over the festive period. It is a good time of year. We don't normally talk about any gear or toys that as guitarists normally like, but this is the opportunity to do it. So we just want to briefly talk about some of the things that make great gifts for guitar players, things that you might want to treat yourself to, all of that kind of thing. So Thomas, what would you say are the sort of top guitar accessories or gifts that are great for guitarist this Christmas period?
So these are mostly the things that I lose constantly. We're talking speed winders, capos, really useful. Some nice metrionic tuners, really good as well.
Metrionic tuners.
Now that is going to be one for the dialogue.
I mean, what was it? Furby's one Christmas? I mean, metrionic tuners are definitely going to be the way to go. But I would say one of the biggest ones is the simple guitar capo. There are so many guitarists of all levels that still don't have one yet, and they just enable you to play more songs and just have more variety no matter what level you're at. And we were actually just discussing that it was a number of years before we got capos when we were first learning, for no particular reason. They are so inexpensive. You really can get them from as little as a couple of pounds or a couple of dollars off somewhere like eBay or other places on the internet. And they just enable you to do more stuff. They simply clamp down the frets at a certain fret, and therefore all the chord shapes you currently know or anything you know how to play, is brand new, but also you can play, as I say, along to more songs with the same fewer chords. And I think any beginner's course and beginner songs, like the capo, is the crux of being able to play that number of songs. Some of the other things you mentioned.
So Speedwinder saved my life more times
Saves
than I can
time.
imagine.
Oh,
So great. It's got a little clamp. It's got a what would you call that?
Yeah, it winds your tuning,
Yeah, that's
your machine heads basically. But also, I think all of them come with string clippers.
That's so handy as well. It's like the
Cannot tell you how many pairs of my mum's best scissors I ruined back in the day and got shouted for. We've all had to do it at some point. So that's the man syndrome, I think. Whatever we have to hand, we kind of use. Get the tool for the job. There are also a number of kind of guitar maintenance kits, again, that would make great presents or a great thing to look at this time of year. Anything else? So guitar straps, new leads.
Classic.
Pedals, we're not going to particularly talking in depth about any guitar pedals or anything on this show, at least not at this point, but they do make great gifts, and so many of them are so affordable. A variety, you're getting a totally new sound just from getting a pedal. Pedals for me were, I think, my way into playing lead guitar, because you could just play one note and suddenly it sounded amazing. Exactly. Or it just had so much energy to it or personality to it. And for many pedals, a chord doesn't really work. Like a delay, we don't really strum chords with a delay. One note suddenly totally comes to life. So lots of options with that. Multi-effects pedals.
Yeah, those are great.
The eternal debate between which is better, single pedals or multi-effects. It entirely depends on what you're wanting to play with it and what you're wanting to use it for. I think for me as well, I don't know about you, Thomas, multi-effects were almost an education of what's out there.
Yeah.
So even if it was one of the more budget ones, which can be seen as a little cheap and nasty, it was a real learning curve.
Exactly.
I suddenly found out what Univibe was.
It's a great intro to all these things. And
Absolutely.
you don't need it to be the best high-end stuff. If someone's never played it before, suddenly it's great to learn what chorus does or what tremolo or Univibe or octave stuff does. And to have it all in one place is so useful as well, not having to basically spend double to get maybe, say you bought a delay and then a chorus, that's twice as much.
And all of this can be already built into many amplifiers or available in software. But the great thing if you buy it separate is you can always upgrade just that one bit rather than having to perhaps get a whole new amplifier or a whole new PC to be able to.
And there's a big kind of market about trading or selling gear on. So even if you get maybe a cheaper one that you think is just an intro one, you can always hawk it on to someone else, chuck it on eBay, reverb.com or something like that, and you'll easily get rid of it, no problem, make space for a new one. Absolutely.
So what about some of the more premium things or some of you that are wanting to perhaps treat ourselves over Christmas, because that can be a thing that happens. New guitars, new amplifiers. For those of you that are looking to just get started, a big debate is acoustic versus electric, which I thought might be a great thing just briefly cover here, and we might cover this more in the coming weeks. Many people start on acoustic guitar just because it's a simpler instrument. You don't need any of these, you don't need an amplifier, leads. I mean, even just for one electric guitar, there's suddenly a lot more else that you're expected to have. Even if it is, just a lead and then an amplifier, there's more than just the simplicity of the acoustic guitar.
The cost goes up then as well.
It can do. It doesn't have to, but it can do. There's just a lot more to it. I think with the acoustic guitar, that simplicity is such a winner. But also with the acoustic guitar, they can just be very physical instruments. They're very big to hold. That can put as many people off as it can encourage people to play it. I'm a big fan of the travel-sized guitars. I've used many in my videos now by quite a few brands, and I think if I'd have started, when I did start off as a beginner, I used one of the acoustic guitars that has a bowed back with it. It's essentially made of plastic. Much narrower, much thinner, much more like an electric guitar, which meant the transition between electric and acoustic wasn't as tough for me. Have you ever heard of stories of people not getting on with acoustic guitars?
Yes, a lot of the time for me it seems to come from the action height. Tends to be, especially on the cheaper end of both electric and acoustics, the action or the height of the strings off the fretboard tends to be a bit higher on the cheaper acoustics, which means it's much harder to just fret a single note, let alone chords and things like that.
And the cheaper a guitar is, the more likely it is for that action to be high. But also, a guitar at any level can just happen to have high action. And in fact, some players prefer the higher string from the fretboard. Some people prefer it to be as low as possible. Typically, the lower, it's going to be easier to play, especially down at the nut for a bar chord or anything.
Really, especially when all the chords we learn from the start are all down here.
Absolutely. With that in mind, I highly encourage anyone who is, especially those looking to spend a good amount of money, a few £100, few $100, anything, upwards or less than that, you want to be trying it out in the shop.
Yeah.
That's so hard to do if you're wanting to give a gift. But mums and dads, you need the perspective of the person that you're buying the instrument for. You need the feedback. It's a really personal instrument. Often these things choose us. That's what it feels like.
Harry Potter wand.
It's what it feels like. Absolutely. And there's no right or wrong with this. There are principles and specs that can be good. One thing for acoustic guitars is looking for a solid body, or at least a solid top, rather than, I believe I'm right in saying that some of the cheaper ones are essentially laminated, though that might be the wrong terminology. That therefore doesn't resonate quite as well as solid wood. And same thing with electric guitars. It can be that the wood really matters, or just people connect with
certain instruments.
One type, one shape, everything like that. So there's some things to bear in mind. The one other thing that I wanted to bring up at this point as well is perhaps just a couple of things that we wish we'd known of earlier in our guitar playing. I think the biggest one for me would have been how useful a capo is and how much that can help and not hinder playing. It doesn't confuse things. It actually makes a lot of things simpler. Was there anything for you, Thomas?
For me, I think the learning process of taking things slow, whenever we're learning and we're trying to aspire to the great guitar players that we've heard, we always want to play as fast as they do, and that is not great for learning. So that having that self-control of just slowing it down to where it's comfortable, where I can actually get the most out of the time I put into the instrument, like that's what I wish I knew more about the learning process.
Absolutely. Coming from someone with your ability and talent for the instrument, that is something for us all to heed, I think. No, 100% is we sort of live in a time of instant gratification, and I half of what I promise is you can do this easier, quicker, than you perhaps can with other teachers. But there are certain things that you can't skip any step. And often what I'm actually trying to do, when I'm trying to get people to play more songs with fewer chords and things like that, is actually just keep people playing. Keep and the actual result in time, if you do get into it and practice a song that you like, you actually play guitar longer, therefore learning guitar gets easier, and you're happier to learn more stuff. But often we can just need that little push and that little achievement first of all, of for example playing a full song all the way through for the first time, playing along to your favorite song for the first time, all that kind of stuff. So yes, that's why great to have you on board for that other side of the coin, I think. Absolutely, really cool stuff. Wonderful. This was your suggestion, wasn't it, Thomas?
Yeah.
Was there any particular reason? Have you covered it in a band of yours or something?
No, it was just that's the Nat King Cole version of it. I just love it. It's so gorgeous, but it's actually quite simple as in terms of the movements that it could have been through, and it has been through in other versions. That one is more so diatonic across the kind of the sections where it doesn't change. It's just lovely. I just love it so much.
It is.
The phrasing of it.
It has a certain sound to it that I think many other Christmas songs have tried to replicate. There are quite a few similar ones. When I was learning this, I looked at a few chord sheets and had a listen to the original, and many were sort of suggesting this fashion of playing the chords. I mean, in the key of C sharp here, so C sharp major, and that's not a very guitar-friendly key. But when I was playing it in this fashion, it didn't sound like the recording, and it didn't sound like what I wasn't. I thought there was more we could do with this one, and then I came across a different way of playing these chords, which was essentially just picking me or staying between 3 strings and picking 3 strings, the thumb with the root note on string 6, and then playing the middle 2 strings and plucking them with the first 2 fingers. And after working through the whole song in this fashion, you can almost play every chord in this song with any one of 3 different shapes. The first one is a major 7th chord, playing the root note, the major 7 and the major 3rd. We can turn that into a dominant by moving the middle finger down, root note's the same, and turn it into a minor by having them all at the same frets. We'll be doing a little bit more of this kind of work in next week's episode, and we'll be doing that on acoustic guitar, but it's the same principle. We have 3 shapes, 1, 2, 3, that anyone can learn to play, and I look forward to doing a tutorial for this one for sure, because that is so handy and can I think be a real way into jazz for many people, and a lot of these Christmas kind of standards become quite jazzy, don't they, or are jazzy in their nature. But it's quite hard. I've never really taught much jazz guitar on YouTube, because it's hard to do a beginner jazz lesson.
Yes.
Because by its nature, it's advanced. But this is such a great way in for most people. And if we just look at the first 4 chords, each one of them, we're using the major, the minor, minor, and then major. And then going forward from there, going down to the minor. I think it was just this one used a little bit of a different shape, but there are essentially 3 shapes, and then the real task is to remember the order of them, and for your ear to be comfortable with these sort of higher level stuff, and perhaps remembering what the sequence is, and then recognizing when it's going wrong while you're learning it, so that you're on the right kind of frets. But a great exercise, and what we're encouraging any of you to do that want to play the lead part is try and work it out by ear as much as possible. It's such a singable melody. Most people can at least whistle it. Would there be any hints? We're in the key of C sharp here, so it's not the most guitar friendly key. So is there any area to stay within to give people some clues?
So going back to the usual, our old motto is sticking in one area. So avoiding this kind of jumping up from all the way up and down.
What scale shape would we work within? Mostly the major scale, isn't it?
Yes. So we're in C sharp, and we're going from this major scale position. What would you call this? 5 in major or 4?
I would go 5 for that one, because we're using our little finger there, but that will be tabbed out on the website. The link's in the top of the description. So
trying to keep that within that one area. You saw I jumped up a little bit to do some harmonies, but even still I'm just moving from one position to the next position and then back down, so I don't even stay in there. And then when it comes to the modulation, so the different keys that happen, even still I'm trying to stick in this area, which is in itself a great kind of test and an exercise, playing a different scale but staying within the actual same position on a guitar. That's a great way to really test your fretboard knowledge. And then when it comes to the way to play the actual melody, I always think about it as, if you look at the sheet music for this written down, it's very stale. It's just all crotchets on the beat.
So you mean in timing wise?
Yes,
basically. So
So
if we think about that as the beat, chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
It's so dull.
That might be how it is written, but that's not how it should be
Not
played.
how it's even intended to be played.
And jazz by its nature has a fluidity to its rhythm and also melodic notes, to be honest. But the rhythm's so important.
That's massive.
Ahead of the beat, slightly behind it, which again is an advanced concept if you're just trying to play something correct. Most people playing lead guitar, we just want to play it right. We don't want to play a wrong note, but being introduced to it in this fashion, and this is a great example, just means that you're more comfortable with that, and when you do it, it's purposeful. You're purposely mimicking what a singer such as Nat King Cole would do.
That's what it comes to. And in fact, that's the reason I love it so much, because when I listen to his phrasing, it's so tricky.
You're learning from a singer, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
You're learning how to play lead guitar because it's a lead instrument.
And it's a melody we're playing. So I'm trying to replicate what I would think that he would sing. So the beats moved a little bit farther, and some notes are held, some notes are a little bit faster. And then there's some of these techniques, putting the little slides in to get that legato feel.
Just do that one more time.
So top of the major shape, and it's just a descending melody, so it's this, but I'm adding that little slide in between the second and the third notes, and it adds that smoothness and legato to it, which is missing when you play it like that. So that's another replication of the human voice that we're going for here.
Absolutely, and I would say this can be easier to, or melodies such as this are easier to work out by ear, as opposed to guitar solos, because they have words to them.
Yeah, exactly.
You can remember where you are. I'm on that word. What is that word? And then sort of naturally sing it in your mind and then play it, which is what all the best lead guitar players do. People that are far better than either of us, they are singing it in their mind and they're playing sort of what they hear or what they imagine that note to be, which is a real connection, and that can be very much developed by working out the melody that a singer sings. That's one of the greatest ways to work with that connection. Fantastic piece. I'm so glad you suggested that one.
So now it's time to revive an old classic. Name that tune in one. Christmas special. So we're going to be doing Christmas melodies, I think. Yeah. Well, at least I am, because you all know how useless I am at even the most well-known rock songs, let alone the most well-known Christmas songs. So I have got one for you, if you're ready. Looking forward to it. Name that tune in one. Probably not. If you get it, is the answer. Absolutely amazed. I don't think we got any in one yet. I did get one in two. But go ahead and remember to play along at home. Get your answer what you think it is in the comments. Okay. You ready? So this is with a slight arrangement to it, just to give it a bit more of a... Okay. Okay, so we've got the bass note in there, so this would be sort of a melody. So basically the top note you're going to hear is going to be the melody. Okay. I'm not getting it from one, so let's try two. Da, da. Christmas songs, Christmas songs, Christmas songs. Because I'm actually thinking of a lot of normal songs it could be. And they're not. It's going to be a Christmas song. Da, da. Da, da. Don't know. It sounds like a root to a major third. Dun, dun. Let me try and think. Okay, so root to major third. Don't know. Third note. You actually just played it. Have yourself. Hey. I know. I thought it might be, but I needed to hear it. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Oh, what a lovely tune. It's great. Can you continue that? I just want to hear it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, bravo. Well done. Bravo. Yeah, that's not bad, but I think I did actually play it. You did play it, and when you sung it, I was like, oh, he's going to get it. We've done a little bit of about melody, in this episode, and often melodies are just going up and down the notes of the chord, as opposed to major scale or anything. Fabulous one there, Note. Yes, I'm going to throw one in for you here. I'm scared. One note, you may get it straight away. You may. But here you go. One note. Is it some Christmas blues?
It's not Christmas blues. Imagine, I don't want to give you too many clues.
I think I'm gonna need them.
Imagine it played on a Les Paul that's cranked through a Marshall stack through one of these.
I immediately think Slash.
Yeah, you're in the right region. Do you need another note?
Give me the second note. Ah.
And it is a lead guitar part. But it is also the melody that is sung, but it is very much a lead guitar part.
Wait, I've just realised I'm thinking of a Queen solo.
This band are heavily influenced by Queen. So again, you're in exactly the right area. And we are going to have some chance for some twin lead guitar solos as well in this one. There's your two notes. Do you need a third?
Give me the third. I'm starting to get it. So the fact
I'm going to
twin
include
lead,
this as the third note because I don't pick it again.
See, you saying twin lead has got me. That's a bit of a clue, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I believe this band is quite happy with twin lead guitars.
Absolutely.
Now, so producer Chris, you can't see him, producer Chris is leaning in because he thinks I'm actually about to get one in less than 10 notes.
His mouth is ajar.
Now, is the band The Darkness?
Hey, yes it is.
The name of the song is probably got the word Christmas in it.
It has, there's one other word that you need.
Oh,
and
only
it
one
would
word.
be Christmas.
Oh,
What
what's
could
the other
possibly
word
go
now?
after Christmas?
Rocks?
And it's not far off, to be honest, you know, in the keeping with the rest of the chorus.
No, that's it. What's it called though? You're gonna have to do it.
That
for
is
me.
always the question
That's
with
always
this game, and why we might be changing this segment in the near future because it's becoming incredibly difficult. For someone who can definitely play these riffs, but
Yeah, God knows
don't
what they're called. Don't ask what they're
always
called.
get the name of them. But what this gives an opportunity to, can you copy what I've just done?
Oh.
That's
Okay.
the stuff. So 3, 4.
Mess it up a little bit.
And let's go. Let me go here. So
Hold
same
on,
thing
you're gonna
again
have
for
to
me.
put me out of my misery. What's the song called?
Christmas time. Don't let the bells end.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
And we're gonna play this
Wait,
together.
what's I keep messing it up. What was it?
So,
Okay.
all right. 3, 4. Beautiful, a bit of twin lead. I think we're going to finish this episode doing that with the amplifiers cranked, and we're going to make a lot of noise to finish this up. Let's do that now. That's the Christmas special of another guitar show. I've never been happier in all my life. We all wish you a very Merry Christmas. Rock on. See you next Sunday.